Welcome back, Swifties. Today, continuing with the Long Pond sessions. This is me trying.
I'd been thinking about addiction, and I've been thinking about people who, if they're either suffering through mental illness or they're suffering through addiction, or they have an everyday struggle. No one pats them on the back every day, but every day they are actively fighting something. But there are so many days that nobody gives them credit for that.
Yeah.
And so how often must somebody who's in that sort of internal struggle must want to say to everyone in the room, you have no idea how close I am to going back to a dark place, or you have no idea.
You have no idea how hard it is to get to the point where you guys think is still shitty.
Yes.
Like, I think about that a lot, like the idea of doing your best or trying is one that only a person knows, and you know when you're doing it. And it's so hard, which is what I get from that song, when you're doing your damn best and it's not good enough.
Yep.
And it rarely is.
Yeah.
But it's, and then it's a very isolating feeling, which I think is funny because it actually is the thing that binds all of us, is we're all like doing our best and feeling like it's not even close to good enough.
Yeah, I had this idea that the first verse would be about someone who is in a sort of a life crisis and has just been trying and failing in their relationship, has been, messing things up with people they love, has been letting everyone down, and kind of has driven to this overlook, this cliff, and is just in the car going, I
wanted to pause it straight away, but it's compelling. It's compelling stuff, isn't it? Addiction. I think, in my experience, all addiction is just trying. It's trying to change how you feel, isn't it, with external things? Would you agree with that? And it manifests itself differently for different people, isn't it? I can't remember who the quote was by. Most men are living lives of quiet desperation. One of the ways around that, I suppose you've got to connect with something higher than yourself, which I think I used to hear a lot, and sort of scoff at or laugh at, because I thought it was, referring to a god or whatever, I guess I've got had some sort of kickback against religion and stuff, but there's magic out there, there's the forces, that turn the tides and things, so maybe you don't have to label it or whatever, but another thing I've realised is you can't just stop with whatever your addiction is, booze, shopping, sex. You can't just stop, you've got to replace it with something else, you've got to replace it with better habits, I suppose, good and better habits. And I suppose you've got to take responsibility for yourself, haven't you? Nobody's coming to save you, I don't think. Although support is necessary and helpful and all that, it's got to start. It's got to start with yourself, hasn't it? And you've got to show up for yourself every day, and find new ways of living and new ways of coping. Healthier ways of coping, whether, and eat well, try to eat well, exercise. These are all like incredibly difficult habits to begin to form, I suppose. But over time, I do think it becomes easier, and as you feel better and stuff. Personally, I found great benefit in fasting, in water fasting and extended water fasting. Although I I kind of got better, you know, for a while with a load of good habits, and then sort of descended back into the ones that don't serve you, you know, that don't help. I wonder why. And I've heard lots of people speak about that you kind of get clean or sober or whatever it is, and there's usually a relapse at some point because you think you can go back, you know, you think you can manage it, you think it can be fun again. Kind of digressing a lot it's the same subject matter, I suppose, isn't it? And you can see the emotion in Taylor's eyes when she's talking about this. So, is this personal? Are these struggles that she's personally had, or people close to her? What's the deal with all that? If you let me know, that would be cool. Let's take it back about 10.
And trying and failing in their relationship, has been, you know, messing things up with people they love, has been letting everyone down, and kind of has driven to this overlook, this cliff, and is just in the car going, I could do whatever I want in this moment, and it could affect everything forever. But this person backs up and drives home, and
Yeah, I love that. The idea that not driving off the cliff is an act of trying.
Yeah.
Which is almost the ultimate act of trying.
Yeah. And then the second verse is about
I read something the other day I think it was about people that had jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge up until, I can't remember the dates, it might have been some old numbers, but apparently most of the people that jumped between, I don't know what it was, 1940 and 1970 or something, most of them didn't die. And I think like pretty much all of them said the second they jumped, they regretted it. And I think 99% of them never tried to commit suicide again. So that's fascinating. And also, it makes me think of something Keanu Reeves said when he was asked, what do you think happens when we die? And he took a pause to think about it and said, the people that love us will miss us. And on that note, I suppose it's whatever pain you're feeling by taking your own life, the pain doesn't disappear, does it? You know, the difficulty doesn't disappear. It just dissipates to the people around you, I suppose. You know, the people that care about you and all that sort of stuff. But I guess overall, I would say building good habits, just the same as if you practice anything, if it's learning a language or a new instrument or whatever, just doing 10 minutes a day, you know, if you can just consistently do just 10 minutes or 5 minutes a day or whatever, over like weeks and months, that stuff, like the progress it's like what do they call it, a hockey stick curve or something. The progress after a little bit just starts to go up very, very quickly. And I think that the same thing is true with building good habits, you know, whether it's yoga or meditation, just stretching in the morning, you know, the Wim Hof breathing, the Wim Hof method I find useful as well. Cold exposure, you know, doing something. The good thing about cold exposure is you're voluntarily doing something difficult every day, and that just makes life that tiny little bit easier, you know, in whatever, I guess, dimensions it manifests itself. I think I'm going to like this song.
Of trying.
Yeah. And then the second verse is about, someone who felt like they had a lot of potential in their life. I think there are a lot of mechanisms for us in our school days, in high school or college, to excel and to be patted on the back for something. And then I think a lot of people get out of school and there are less there are less abilities for them to get gold stars.
Yeah.
And then you have to make all these decisions and you have to pave your own way, and there's no set class.
My sister loves a gold star. It's quite funny. I think what you said there about potential is interesting, isn't it? Because I think that's the reason. I think I drank heavily, like throughout all of my 20s, and didn't even realise it was a problem, you know, or abnormal, because everyone around me did it, still does it, I suppose. The people that I was surrounded with then. So it kind of gets normalised and that, and then as I approached 30, a few different things happened that woke me up to some things about the way I saw the world. But mainly, I remember just this sort of having this foreboding, you know, this feeling of like, I'm concerned about not fulfilling my potential, you know. And so I thought, if I can't, just because I can't curb my enthusiasm, you know, for what I thought was a lubrication, you know, for enjoyment or creativity or something like that. But in the last 2 years of my 20s, it turned into something, you know, much darker, I suppose. And then after some time away, as I alluded to not long ago, I guess I didn't drink maybe for like 5 years, you know, and I was eating well and all that sort of stuff, mainly exercising and stuff. And then I thought, I'll be okay now. I'll have a glass of wine, you know. And then some more time went on. I'm okay. Maybe I'll just have I'll have a pint, you know, with a mate. Oh, that's fine. I've had like 2 pints. I can go home and leave it at that. But then, you know, tragedy occurs, or bad things, you know, occur in your life, and little by bit by bit, those bad habits, you know, creep back in, and it's something to run to, you know, in times of stress or times of wanting to shut down and wanting to not feel those uncomfortable feelings that you have. But they're not going anywhere, you know. You're just delaying the inevitable, I suppose. So you've just got to not drink the beer, not eat the ice cream, you know, not eat the packet of biscuits, not spend money you haven't got on things that you don't really need. You just got to sit with those uncomfortable feelings, you know, and allow them to work themselves out, I suppose.
Course you can take, and and I think a lot of people feel really swept up in that. And so I was thinking about this person who is really lost in life and then starts drinking, and every second is trying not to.
Yeah.
I've been having a hard time adjusting. I had the shiniest wheels, now they're rusting. I didn't know if you'd care if I came back. I have a lot of regrets about that. Pulled the car off the road to the lookout. Could've followed my fears all the way down. And baby, I don't quite know what to say, but I'm here in your doorway. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying.
The pace has surprised me. You know, it's a quicker pace than I was expecting, but it kind of works well, doesn't it? You know, with the adrenaline of, or the anxiety of feeling these things. You know, expecting there to be a nice change or something here. Brighter, perhaps?
To know that this is me trying. Told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential, and my words shoot to kill when I'm...
Okay, so it's going for another verse. What was that? They told me all my cages were mental. They told me all my cages were mental. Yeah, it's true, I suppose, isn't it?
My cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential, and my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. I was so ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it's I suppose like alcohol and other substances, they don't make you unaware of the consequences of saying things you don't mean or whatever it is, or behaving in stupid ways. They make you just not care, I suppose. And outbursts of anger and stuff like that, it's really just an inability to express the way you're feeling. Is that fair to say? What do you reckon?
Shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. I was so ahead of the curve. The curve became...
Regrets are an interesting concept as well, because I can honestly say I don't have a single regret my entire life. And I don't know, and I don't meet many people that, I don't know if I've ever met anyone who can say that. And am I lying to myself? I don't know, because I think all throughout my life, no matter, I guess I've always been really aware of my journey, and have I done stupid things? Yeah, of course, but I don't regret anything because that's the accumulation of it's got me to where I am like now, and there were lessons in everything, so I mean, I've done reckless stuff, but have I done anything reckless enough to regret it? I mean, have any of you guys not gotten, have any of you guys got regrets or not got regrets? Like, I'd be interested to find out.
And my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. I was so ahead of the curve. The curve became a sphere. Fell behind all my classmates and I ended up here, pouring out my heart to a stranger. But I didn't pour the whiskey. I just wanted you to know.
Everything does go in a circle, doesn't it? Everything is cyclical in nature, I think. Until you learn lessons, until you move on. But maybe do you even come back to it after that? Because the songs I listened to as a teenager, I suppose, that I now listen to again, and they have a different connotation for me, a different meaning.
Up here, pouring out my heart to a stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. At least I'm trying. And it's hard to happy at a party when I feel like an open wound. It's hard to be anywhere these days when all I want is you. You're a flashback in a film reel on the one screen in my town. And I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. At least I'm trying.
Right. Yeah, a cool subject matter, isn't it? At least I'm trying. The trying is the minimum that that you have to do, isn't it? You know. I mean, what's the takeaway for this message for me? You know. At least I'm trying. That feels like a bit of a cop-out to me, I suppose, you know, or at least I'm trying. Like you should get points for trying. I don't know if you should get points for trying. I think as a human being, I don't know, it's tough, isn't it, man? Like, when I was younger, I think my view of the world was much more narrow, and I found it difficult to even know, you know, like what, or even imagine. I thought everybody must think like I think, you know. They must experience like I experience, and I was probably older than I should have been when I realised that wasn't the case. And when I went to train to be an actor, I remember there was a list of questions to fill in for a character that you were going to play, and it was stuff like, there was particular ones like, you know, what's the culture that these characters grew up in, you know, like what was their childhood like, this, that, the other, how has that affected them, all that sort of stuff. And I was just like, what are they talking about? Like, I just couldn't even get my head around the concept of anything different to myself, I suppose. Thankfully, that's no longer the case, you know, and I've opened myself up, and now I find it fascinating, you know, like exploring other cultures. I just didn't. You don't know what you don't know, do you? You know, and I didn't realise how narrow my view of everything was. You know, how I had the blinkers on, just trying to aim at and to concentrate on what I wanted to achieve. But the only way out is in, if you know what I mean. But anyway, man, thanks for watching it to the end. If you watch to the end, even thanks to the guys that aren't watching this little bit and you've skipped off at some point. That's cool too. Thanks for commenting and liking and all that brilliant jazz you're doing. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Lots of love.